Measles outbreaks in 2 states, New York and Washington, have public health officials scrambling to try to contain the disease. These new outbreaks have occurred despite the fact that measles was supposed to be eliminated in the United States nearly 2 decades ago.
In order to prevent an outbreak from occurring within a community, at least 95% of people should be vaccinated. Meeting that threshold is crucial to protect people who are unable to get vaccinated.
There have been more than 200 confirmed cases in just the past few months.
So is it possible that the reason we're having a measles outbreak because of the measles vaccine? Chiropractor, you stand against vaccines by our philosophy. It's not necessarily true. We have the political freedom to say whether we want to vaccinate or we don't want to vaccinate. But by our philosophy, our chiropractic philosophy, we don't believe in chemicals. We believe that the body has an innate intelligence, which is just the word we use for something you would recognize. Your cells produce bone matter until they stop growing and they know when to turn off. When I really began to question and say, oh my, there's more to learn about this, is when I admitted to myself that we actually didn't learn anything about this in school. And we were just told, safe and effective, it prevents contagious diseases, and I saw that that was true and I agreed with that. So I started to look into it. And what I found out was that it had mercury. And what I learned was that its official category is not safe and effective. The United States Supreme Court has labeled it unavoidably unsafe.
I think the way it came about is in 1990s, maybe late 80s or something, when people started getting concerned about, eating fish because of the mercury levels in it, and then maybe thermometers. People started getting a little bit of concerned about little kids playing with it because you don't want to inhale mercury. The thing is, the type of mercury we're talking about in the trace amounts in some vaccines, and none of the childhood vaccines have these anymore. I don't know why they still make this a talking point. But anybody who's worried about this should understand that they did take them out. And even with the ones which did have them, they were not in the amounts that were harmful.
It's really oftentimes hard, even for doctors or people in the medical field, to spot what's nonsense.
If anybody is talking about their beliefs, when they're talking about vaccines or anything else for that matter, just don't even engage, go and read it yourself, because it's not going to, this is not a matter of opinion, this is not a matter of belief. When you're talking about something this serious, you're pretty much, you want to inform yourself the best way you can.
Recently, there's been some action to pull a lot of the specifically anti-vaccination campaigns and propaganda, frankly, from some of the major social media sites, primarily Facebook, and I think also Twitter, because it's a lot of false information or exaggerated information or anecdotal information.
Social media, Facebook is the last place. Like if that was the only place left, you should still not look at those.
Thankfully, we live in a time where we don't see these illnesses. Most people's never seen polio or diphtheria or pertussis is back too, or even measles. And because you don't see it, you're not afraid of it.
So when you lay down at night, you're not thinking, oh, is my child going to get smallpox? They won't, very likely, because it is eradicated from the world because of vaccines, right? But that's not something you're concerned about. because of that, anybody who can scare you in any ways will have that upper hand, right? So with Andrew Wakefield's study too, he ended up having all those pictures of mice that are disformed and, in his study, and those images stay with you.
But when it comes to real problems and real illnesses, whether you're treating them or preventing them, whether it's vaccine preventable illnesses, cancers, real medical problems, they need to be treated with real medicine.
I want to say when people say, "Oh, I don't like biology, I don't care," it's not an excuse anymore. We're living at a period of time right now that it is not okay to not be informed about science.